Greetings everyone, please give me a moment to make sure everything's set on up. Let's see. Which is going. Pick is going. Twitter, what are you doing? Twitter may be bugging out. There we go. Working now, just had to refresh the entire page. Well, not hit refresh, reload. And Rumble is going. Looks like everything's going online. Time to activate the live chat windows. Usually I get spam bots on Kick. I must not do live chat windows on Kick since I usually get spam bots there. Let's see now. And looks like that's all good. All the live chat windows are online. Give me another moment to check my other computer. And looks like everything's good to go, so let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Great here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn as the, let's see, which side I call this? Middle and north side? Yeah. As the red fire adder, we got Muji 6 spawns. Other middle side, as the purple lightning adder, we got Orchest. By still butchering both their names quite well. This replay was submitted to me. I will announce who submitted the replay at the start of the replay, due to the fact that most time people submit replays they usually win. Though I always try to give credit to players who submit in replays where they lose, because let's be frank, most time, well, let's be frank, you more brag about your wins than brag about your loses. If you can brag about a loss, more to you. This map is a little bit weird. You can see that player 1 starts 2 infantry, player 2 starts with 4 infantry, all on top of the bases, all unweighted. This is a lab map, 2 labs on each side. It's also weird where it's south, middle, north, other south. And I have no idea what's going to be a strong or weak side. To me, it looks like the 2 bases would probably be the stronger side since it's easier to coordinate. To focus one side, the other side can easily project left or rightwards, while singulars will have to, if he's projecting to fight one side, then it would be harder to defend with one base run with 2 bases. But there is a decent number of mountains here for defense, while over here is pretty wide open, but very off to the side as well, so reinforcements has a bit different. So it's likely to be the strong defense, weak defense, if that makes any horrible sense. But it also means a weak defense is probably not going to be focused as well because it's simply off the beaten path. In fact, there's also no paths here, no roads. Either way, guess we'll find out soon enough. There's also a pair of airports and comm towers as well. So, let's get started. Of course, as an adder mirror, I usually avoid mirror matchups, but if somebody submits me a mirror matchup, I'm more willing to cast it, because usually it's probably a good replay. Me, I always find mirror matches more likely to be on the boring side because they both have the same things. Whoever edges ever so slightly better, rather than the asymmetrical. I sort of like more asymmetrical designs. But there's of course good and bad asymmetrical designs, and since I'm mod maker for computers too, I know about bad asymmetrical design as well as good asymmetrical design, to say the least. In Advanced Wars, the day-to-day is probably the most important effect when it comes to asymmetrical. Generally seems like not necessarily the strengths of each player's day-to-day is the more important part. I always feel like the weaker what it gets nerfed as their day-to-day is actually the more important part. Excuse me, in more important part. You have an early recon up north. This is 4 bases, so quite a bit of money has to go into the deployment infantry, so the airport's going to be a little bit more difficult to get used out of, though it is going to be supporting the strong defense side, which could of course, be very helpful there. So, anti-air's are being aggressive over on this side would make some good sense. Recon instructing some infantry. Right now, 16 versus 13. Player 2 has the advantage. Player 2 also has a comm tower. Now player 1 has his comm tower. Finish off that wooden infantry unit there. Decides not to try to go. It was right there, so it could have gone for interrupt there. The music swap is driving insane. Let me try fixing that. Let's see. Restart. Let's see if I can do it like that, and hopefully helps fix that. I'll probably turn that on. Just give me a moment. Restart themes of turn. Alternate themes, procedural intros, loop and so, automatic play. There was just one for mirror matchups, right? Seamless loop and mirror matchups. There we go. It says I don't usually cast mirror matchups. That's something I didn't have on. So maybe that'll help fix it out. Yep. There is actually a nice setting for this music player to allow a singular soundtrack to be played across mirror matchups to help out. So let's see if this helps you out. Anti-air moving around. Got a pair of tanks up here. We have a tank here. Anti-air meant to pursue the airport. Anti-air heading up north. Anti-air, of course, is a counter the recon. Though again, most things are counter the recons. Recons only really counter infantry. And sometimes mechs, but not really. Looks like red does get surrounded, at least from this side. This infantry unit can still escape onto there. Multiple tanks heading down south of winter. Adder could... We've got line tanks here. Adder could counter out with a line of tanks. Just chain of tanks to counter the chain of tanks. Does, of course, get more interrupt there. 10 capture progress remaining, so be 4 more turns for a full capture. Does get an infantry unit there. Recon does escape. Very nice. Intercepts a 1 health infantry unit there. Tank strikes tank from the city there, so not only gets repaired on up, it at least has 3 defense stars with counterattack, and with only 1 health remaining, it effectively has rather 30% defense. It will have effectively 27% defense, which is more than plenty, honestly. Plus, his one will have attack from open road, which is 0. Another chain of tank there, so it could be a chain of tanks from both sides. Seemed like mech strikes infantry. There is no river there for the mech to strike the anti-air. Now the anti-air could strike the mech there. Adder may need to fire another mech to ward away the anti-air. Oh, we got an early power. So, Magenta's gone for early power. Let's explore for the +10/+10 global if I hazard a guess. That one probably was actually needed for extra space. And he will get interrupted there, yep, so there he is making use of his mobility, like that there, sprinting across the mountain. Not easy to feed the sprint up and down a mountain. Let's be frank, sprinting down the mountain is actually pretty difficult as well, because you tend to just fall down. And he's going to try to go flip. The tank will have to hit the infantry unit there, so 2 infantry unit may get the interrupt, but 2 infantry unit may have trouble. Let's see how easy a 2 infantry unit can interrupt a capture. With the power, not even with a power, I think he can interrupt. Wait, the 2 infantry unit can take out the 1 health infantry unit. I'm an idiot. Now the tank can counter the infantry unit. Good hit there. He did go for another mech there to hit the anti-air, so ward away the anti-air. Though the infantry unit still get a good strike there. He's not going with his power. Tank does interrupt the capture of the airport, takes out half his health, but the good chance he will be hit pretty hard there. I mentioned there's 2 tanks here. He needs to get a first strike on one of these tanks. He could take time to finish off that 4 health tank. That's a good idea to probably go for a first strike there. His argument made to go for a medium tank, though I don't know if he could afford that. Add 7,000 there, go back 1 action, another action. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong player's income. Hey, he could go for medium tank here to stabilize that region. Does get a good hit there. Infantry units are capturing those points. Tank strikes tank. Tank strikes infantry unit there. He does join capture as well, so it looks like he will get the capture there. He will need more than a full health tank to interrupt that capture. Mech takes time to interrupt the capture. Mech goes and gets another shot off there. So Magenta's actually eyeing to cross the rivers and mountains with mechs, which actually is feasible with Adder because of the side slip and sidewinder. So somehow Adder can make mech play usable going down south. Double tank, tank infantry, and tank over here. So triple tanks. It's at 21,000 income. Alright, 19,000 income. It's the mech there as well. And no chain of mechs to continue across the mountain path. Tanks will strike tank. You have now a superpower for Adder. Maybe we gotta just go for the regular power for most situations. Honestly, needs a +2 move range. It's better to go for the power. Not to mention he has enough power charge left over to get another power. Another tank there. And does flip the airport. There is anti-air nearby, but also got some tanks. At least we'll deny the use of the airport. I don't think Adder would be able to use the airport. And we got another side slip by Purple Lightning. Strikes the infantry unit there. And finish off there. Tank goes up north, strikes tank. And try to flip there. Tank heads down south, strikes tank. Tank makes its way over to the left. Wounded tank falls back. Healthy tank advances. Another tank there. Wounded mech falls back. Infantry. Tank and infantry. It's the infantry unit there and there. Will we see Adder's superpower? Just go for the regular power. I think that's a good idea. Just need a +10/+10. Sprints to hit that infantry unit there. Tank does strike tank. Tank will strike infantry unit there. And we'll finish off. 8 years in range of the airport, so should be safe enough. Does go for medium tank to stabilize the region. And I just realized something as well. Adder has, of course, captured this lab, which leaves Red only one lab. Oh no, Red has claimed both essential labs. Okay, so they both still have 2 labs, just different locations. Tank does strike tank. Tank heads up north, hits tank. Of course, got the medium tank. Tries machine gun it. Does not finish it off there. Does hit that tank there. Mech heads to the city. And Adder just swarming tanks up north. Anti-air strikes anti-air. Supposedly equal fight. Was equally not great. But just okay. Medium tank down south as well. Infantry. Adder's, of course, medium tank is here. Could probably strike the 8 health tank. Let's see. He can strike also the 8 health tank. He does have a power, so we activate that for additional firepower, so choose. Does not try to charge forward to this full health tank there with his power. Blocks the airport with 2 health tank. That's just a good way to be annoying. Tank will strike tank. Anti-air will head down south as well. Anti-air will strike the infantry unit there and loses this 1 health tank there. Goes for another medium tank. Infantry. Right now, Red has 20,000 funds. Purple Lightning has 21. There's still 1 despicable neutral property there, which Red could pop a power to get to it. Oh yeah, Purple Lightning's a French, and Red Fire? Yeah, Red Fire is also the English, so It's the English versus the French. How quite apt. And we do have another power there. That's the third power by Adder. Adder's scrolling down for 1 power so far this game. Medium Tank will strike regular tank, one-shots it. Tank will strike tank, and we'll finish off tank there. Adder has superpower, goes for a battle copper since he is lacking anti-air. Good idea. He does have 2 medium tanks, which can knock out a couple of these tanks there, but this base could be, if anti-air does get pulled out there, could be threatened. Overall, feels like Purple Lightning's in a great position. He has 68,000 or 86,000 in the field versus 62. Of course, day-to-day funds putting up to 85, so they're still pretty even. They're neck and neck. Remember as well, player 2, you have to add this. Player 1, you don't add that day-to-day funds. Does double tap the infantry unit there. Tank will strike anti-air. Anti-air strike, anti-air. 2 off tank does not strike anti-air, and when he uses uses the meat shield, so it looks like Adder will start playing everything down south and making some good headway with his medium tanks. He does need this medium tank here, which this tank is still range no problem. Anti-air, anti-air, and multiple of these properties being flipped there. Adder does go and capture some properties. Oh, there's still 2 despicable neutrals there. Medium tank takes out the anti-air. And looks like Adder will manage to claim this airport. Does another anti-air there to ward away anything from that airport. Infantry. Battlecopter does strike medium tank. And it does strike medium tank. Does strike medium tank. It does strike medium tank. I don't know if that's worth it. That's a lot of tanks thrown into that thing. That was one of those things, what else are you supposed to do? We now have the first artillery on the map. Usually we see at least 1 or 2 artillery by now. And does use the medium tank to occupy the airport. Does manage machine gun down the anti-air. Tank, tank, infantry, tank, and regular tank. Medium tank strikes tank there. We likely will see a battlecopter here shortly. 2 of anti-air, maybe not. I think with enough bodies, I think we're gonna make a medium tank run out of ammo. He threw a lot of tanks, so it still has 3 ammo remaining. And it looks like your comment didn't pop up. Oh wait, did I forget to do something? There we go. That tends to fix that issue. And that's why my YouTube stream up on my other screen, just so my chat window, combined chat window, messes up with that. YouTube seems pretty unreliable when it comes to that chat window software I use. The reason why I use this chat window software is because it also does support Rumble. Or has a workaround for Rumble, since Rumble does not have an open API. Tank will head down south to strike tank. The medium tank could push forward as well. Leave the airport exposed, so if he does leave the airport exposed, gotta pull out anti-air. The nice thing as well, if this tank gets slightly wounded, he could merge the 2 medium tanks together and say this medium tank's at 9 health. Merge a 3 health medium tank into it. He will get decent refund there. 30% of 1,600 or 16,000 is roughly 3,000. My offhand map's not doing all great. It'd be 4,800 if my offhand math is incorrect. Either way, do now have a battlecopter here. It's a little bit risky because it's 2 anti-airs in the region. And both players now have the superpower. And we got a full Sidewinder by Adder. Does he need the extra 2 movement space? To sprint towards the comm tower? Yes, and body blocks as well. He puts it right there because it leaves only 1 opening from the side. So purple is playing in play with the comm tower. Excellent. Mean tank strikes regular tank. Good fights up there. Third anti-air. That may be a little bit overkill, but then again, he's finding this good enough infantry on a battle copter, so that is an adequate counter. Also, he could skimp out and go on for a recon here. Infantry, tank, infantry. Amber Orange's turn. Not Amber Orange. Red Fire's turn. And now got another side slip. Body completely surrounds the medium tank, at least from this side. But should be able to broken out. I think the anti-air should be able to take out the infantry on top of the forest, but there's a pile of infantry there. Because if he's able to break through that, then the anti-air could hit the battle copter and knock it out as well. Another battle copter, tank, infantry. Of course, purple does not have a power to activate this turn, so he went for a full Sidewinder. But, alternative to plus 10% firepower, he of course gets a comm tower. So, purple has 2 comm towers. I'm surprised purple didn't try going for another medium tank down the bottom pushback. Possibly? I mean, yeah, there's now 2 tanks in a battle copter. That is another possibility. Magenda's also, or purple's already claimed 2 properties down there. Of course, multiple tanks nearby, as well as his own infantry. He decides not to try to go for that infantry unit there. Goes their third anti-air. Anti-airs are okay versus tanks. Got a medium tank on top of his airport still, and does range some of the medium tank's flanks with the artillery. Of course, medium tank can just go take a shot from the city. Probably best if that tank gets on top of the airport, or he needs to put anti-air there. Medium tank gets hut there. Tank does get some good shots on the anti-airs. Purple lightning has the power. Fire. Red fire does also have the power, almost superpower. I don't know why. I have trouble saying the word red fire. I don't know why. Recon, infantry, anti-air, battlecopter, and infantry. Does pop the power there. Let's see how well it does. He did go with anti-air here, so he has something to range the airport. Infantry hits infantry. Medium tank hits or tank. Hits infantry there and pulls back there. Yeah, I can see right now medium tank would be quite nice. At least a regular tank at minimum. Does pull back. Artillery's in good position. Right now, purple has 25,000 income. Fire red. Red fire. Fire red? Now I'm getting all mixed up. I'm trying not to say fire red. Fire. Red fire. Is it? Okay. Red fire. God damn it. Why am I having trouble saying that? He pops a side slip. Fire red's a Pokemon, isn't it? And looks like it's going to forfeit the lab and another property there. So Purple Lightning's getting ever so better position. He did go for another medium tank down south. And if she does strike the medium tank, and it's probably close to 1%. Pokemon Fire Red, that's got to be it. Does use the Battlecopter to take out a potentially 1% medium tank. I understand trying to finish it off, but I think it would have been fine to leave it alone. Famous last words. But Red Fire, the Brits are all over down south. Infantry, infantry, tank, infantry. Got 6,000 funds in the bank. ends at 106,000. So red fire. Adder has 106,000 versus Adder has 75,000. So player 2 has plenty of income advantage. But of course, Purple Lightning does have more income. And of course, 2 comm towers is quite significant. Plus, rooms of firepower is massive. Not to mention the income disparity is 6,000 as well, which does start heading up. There's no more despicable neutral properties. Another medium tank there. He does pull back his Intier. Could be struck by a 6 health tank, but at least he'll be able to protect it against 1 battlecopter. Maybe Red Fire should go for Bomber now. I think there's an argument made for a Bomber, a proxy Bomber right there. And strike the Intier with a tank, maybe even with a battlecopter as well, if possible. He can pop a power to help out with that as well. Because he could deploy a Bomber here and start and really crack this area wide open. Of course, that effectively means he have no deployment here, because that'll be 4,000 funds remaining, so all his remaining bases will go for infantry. Even if he does go for a recon up here, that won't really be too great. Maybe a Neo tank? No, Neo tanks are not super resilient. Like I said, I think a Bomber could be quite nice. But I also I'm also thinking is like, then this area will completely collapse without a super deployment. And he has a strong position here. He can't go for an incredibly strong position in order to sacrifice Sophia. Sacrificing this would be a horrible idea. Let's go another medium tank. I think another medium tank is a good call. Infantry, tank, infantry. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably best not go for a Bomber. It would sacrifice too much up here. Anti-air does strike battlecopter. Medium tank attacks a battlecopter, which is not great, but he is surrounded, at least from this side. Medium tank will strike medium tank. Because right now Purple has a great position up here. Red may pop a power. Ooh, he just flipped 3 properties this turn. I was not paying close enough attention to that. Now the income's evened out. So long as Fred Pyre holds the airports, he can maintain top left. Oh. At least occupy this one. This one's, of course, captured by Purple Lightning. But I have a feeling it feels, even though the units are still... Unit value on the map is even, and so since it's player 2, he does have advantage. I have a feeling that he's going to become a Funeral Pyre relatively soon. Medium tank does get a couple good strikes here. Anti-air is in the region. Decides to occupy the airport itself. I suppose it's doing its job at being anti-air, because of course it denies the air unit's existence. Battlecopter strikes the medium tank. Tank strikes anti-air. Now the battlecopter's free reign. Now, probably a good idea to go for another battlecopter here. Battlecopter, artillery, infantry, recon. I think he's trying to squeeze out something up here. Recon at least can be decent versus the artillery. And of course the infantry. And using a tank to strike it may be a bit overkill, which could be good for red. Couple good kills down south. Neo tank now deployed in the field. Infantry. Good kills there. And looks like red could make a play for the counter. Looks like he is. Triple taps his tank, also base locks there. So looks like Purple Lightning has completely disintegrated down south. And red has the income advantage now. And oh, he has also recaptured the top left one, so now the contrast is even, so it feels like red is starting to pull back. He was ahead in value, but behind him some multiple aspects. It's been a pretty close call game, but it feels like actually red is actually pulling ahead quite significantly there. Has 132 versus 95. Another possible power by purple lightning. But of course, he does have a Neo tank. Goes for the full sidewinder. Neo tank goes straight for the infantry unit. Not a great target for there. And notice he's going to surround the tank completely, at least from this side. Allowing the Neo tank punch to take it out. Wait, lab. That's a lab capture victory. He's deleting his units. And red resigns. He did a BM delete and red knew he lost. I was not expecting a lab victory. It was neck and dead, but excellent play there by purple. The person did submit in the replay was Archist, so thank you for submitting it, and on to the next replay. That was a good game. I was not expecting a lab victory. I have not been paying attention to lab's entire game, and it's like, wait a second, he's capturing lab. Excellent game. I actually do have what I believe is a good number of games as well. Let's see now. Give me a moment to adjust the map, the stream, the video, the recording. That's probably the term I should use. That seems pretty good. Out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Great here for another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn north side as the Purple Lightning Olaf, we got Star Flash 250. Spawn south side as the Gray Sky Von Bolt, we got Danger Dave. For some reason, whenever I hear the word danger, I think of Crocodile Hunter. Danger, danger, danger. Sorry, that was a weird reference, but that's when I hear the word danger, I just think of Steve Irwin. The late Steve Irwin. Infantry, this is a 3-base map, Fog of War. There's also a pair of airports, comm towers in the center, not super contestable, but if one gets captured, this already probably means the game is over. Oh, we got a APC deployed in the field. I've been seeing a decent number of APC openers in this map, help push units forward. Olaf does go for artillery instead. Bombo, of course, gets a passive +10/+10. Olaf gets unaffected by snow. He can create occasional snow blizzard, but he's mostly a superpower CO for the Winter Fury. Bombo can be... his superpower is deceptively useful. It can be some of the Eagles, like it gives you a double turn and a part of a map. But because if a certain part of the map gets hit by the Ex Machina, it's effectively locked down. And artillery up here. Von Bolt's mostly carried by his day-to-day passive +10/+10, just makes all of his units just good. At no additional cost. His Ex Machina, like I said, is not meant for the damage, mostly meant for the stun. If they're ever going to do some sort of like a mini Ex Machina, like they did with Sturm's mini Meteor, where it does less damage, they could give him a power which only does AoE stun with no damage. Honestly, that would be a bit overpowered though. Because I'm trying to think how many stars assigned that. It would have to be at least 6, maybe 7. Because you have to best compare it to Eagle's double turn, I would say. 6 stars may be adequate. Yeah, no, 7 stars. If you just do a stun-only version of it. Double tank. Recon does get an early strike, free hit there on the artillery. Very good hit. Usually Recon rushes meant to raid infantry units, not artillery. So, Von Bolt got an early first good engagement. He's getting lucky. Tank, infantry, recon. So we've got a number of recons in the field. The number appears to be 3 on the field. Tanks starting to push the way forward. Of course, that's not in any force, so it's easily spotted. It's right over there. Both players have claimed the comm tower. The APC over here. Haven't seen mechs push forward just yet. Just some infantry units there. Got a recon ain't here. Generally, it's always said that you should get at least 1 8-year out before turn by no later than turn 10. So Olaf will either go for a battlecopter or an ETR this turn. Because last thing you want to do is have your pants cocked down and get hit by a battlecopter. It looks like it deletes the cruiser. The wounded artillery will limp its way onto the HQ. Good strike there, hits that one as well. Anti-air, battlecopter, infantry. So both players now have battlecopter in the field. Tank will strike tank, but will spot the artillery at the exact wrong moment. Tank will strike tank, but of course it's also in range of the artillery. This artillery is in range of this tank, but this tank should have vision of the artillery. Recon, tank, battlecopter. Oh, it also got this artillery. Recon strikes the artillery, very nice. Tank strikes recon. So you took out the recon with the tank rather than use the artillery, so he wants to move the artillery forward. Looks like the artillery strikes him with our auxiliary. And we'll use the tank to strike the tank there. So they're going to just drag each other down. Tank, tank. Tank will strike the recon. Recon gets struck there as well. Neo-tank infantry. Olaf does have 24,000 Comsoders Von Bolt, so both players can afford a Neo-tank per turn, not necessarily a bomb reach turn. But Von Bolt also has 30,000 funds in the bank, and there's some expensive stuff to go for. Oops, that's the wrong button. Not log. Here we go. What units are banned? Just the black bombs. So stealth bombers are not banned. Good strikes there. I always have to remind myself which maps has what sort of bans because... Oh! Got a rocket. I generally frown upon rockets. It's also on the strong side, so his strong side will be slowed down because of that. I can understand having a rocket deployed up here. Find a good position to start firing upon, because we've got quite a bit of stuff up here. Bit of a shooting gallery. But he deploys on his strong side, which I disagree with. Generally, I think on the strong side, you should go for more mobile assets, such as tanks and ATRs, recons. Occasionally, medium tanks, neo tanks, quite understandable. But on your weak side, medium tanks and rockets will make a bit more sense because they don't have to travel as far, and they're better in defensive positions. Medium tanks are good defensive units, while neo tanks are a bit more of an offensive unit, in my opinion. Recon, tank, battlecopter, infantry. Looks like Von Bolt is trying to flip this property there and capture this despicable neutral. That looks like the last despicable neutral. Battlecopter connects. Olaf's battlecopter appears to be in range of this battlecopter. Barring the meat shield there. Got a neo tank up north. almost see enough for a Winter Fury. Tank hitting down south as well. Looks like purple's largely rotating around. Volbolt's pretty far from his superpower. Trying to say Age Up, but it's the wrong game. I also cast quite a bit of Age of Empires and Age of Mythology. Tank, Recon, Infantry, and Battlecopter. The fact that Olaf has a bigger power charge than Von Bolt means he took a lot more damage than Von Bolt. Though right now, they're still pretty even value on the field, so it's going either way. Battlecopter gets a good strike there. He saw the Battlecopter there, so he knew that he was entering the range of his opponent's Battlecopter. And he has to be very careful about the Winter Fury. The first Winter Fury can come much more quicker, like any CO getting caught off by an early winter. Ask Napoleon, ask Hitler. They of course both got caught off by an early winter. Though, unlike them, Genghis Khan invaded the winter and won. Oh, there's the superpower. Managed to squeeze out just enough. It was pretty easy to squeeze that out. You can be a bit more aggressive trying to squeeze it out because you know your opponent's going to be wounded after it. Wounds everything. He's going to spend a decent amount of repairs. The Neotank did end its turn on top of a city. Of course, the snow will also slow down the advance. Interior tank and artillery. Ends turn 152. Von Bolt starts turn 134. His Ex Machina is still a decent amount away. Artillery can strike an infantry unit or an infantry unit. Looks like he just sort of solidified his defense there, but there's nothing much to defend against. Of course, it's Farcast Division. Anti-air will strike Battlecopter. Artillery strikes infantry. Infantry strikes infantry. Infantry gets finished off. Tank on tank. Some hits there. Neotank was just trying to keep out of vision range rather than out of attack range, because this tank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is in range of the Neotank. Of course, just needs a path in front of it. He does spot the Neotank there. It takes out the Neotank has a clear path to the Neotank. Hits the artillery there. Takes out the artillery. Neotank strikes a Neotank. Ex Machina is now available. Strong likelihood will strike somewhere up here. Oh yeah, it's definitely going to strike, let's see, probably this Battlecopter. Probably he needs to pull this tank off the city first, and it will definitely strike this Battlecopter. I don't see any other real target for the strike. Anything else moving around, rotating? Another Neotank infantry. I don't think it'll be drawn over here. Because it would... I guess we'll find out soon enough. He can manipulate where it lands, but... it struck right there. He did not pull the tank off the city, so his own tank gets locked down, but didn't make some action first. So, that'll be okay. He used the Neotank to strike the regular tank, not the Neotank there. He used the Neotank to strike the Neotank, however, instead. Everything over here got repaired up from winter. Von Bolt could be a bit more aggressive in this area. Of course, he does lack a proper spotting of everything. Infantry, recon, infantry, Battlecopter. And now this flank is largely locked down. Artillery is out of range of everything. Though right now, only that's left that's locked down is the recon, Battlecopter, technically 1 health tank that's not supporting some infantry. So up here, Olaf is not super great. He's still a good amount of units there. His biggest asset's probably artillery in the back line. The artillery and the auxiliary has 120,000 field, of course, the day-to-day income. So Olaf has a slight advantage when it comes to value at the moment. And trying to flip a property there. Bombo does have 27,000 income versus 23,000. Now Neo-Tank rotating over there to contend with the Neo-Tank. Tank, Battlecopter, and Base Skip. Infantry takes out Tank, Anti-Air strikes Battlecopter. Neo-Tank takes out Recon. Neo-Tank takes out Battlecopter. Or not Battlecopter, Artillery. Anti-Air. Some good picks there. Tank, Infantry, Anti-Air, Battlecopter. A lot of these properties in the center for Olaf is actually quite exposed. If Volbolt was a bit more aggressive, he could actually claim them. Battlecopter strikes Neo-Tank. And that Neo-Tank is struck again. He could fall back, merge to 5 health Neo-Tanks. Could be a good idea. Oh! That's what he's doing. He should probably merge with 2-3 health Neo-Tanks, leave on top of the city. His own Neo-Tanks push way forward. So that was what Olaf was doing. I was a bit confused about the anti-air strike in the Neo-Tank, but was not paying close enough attention to the power charge. And I understand now. And of course, since both the Neo-Tanks were still alive, he effectively got hit twice. They hadn't had time to merge them up. Anti-air strikes Battlecopter, and the next Ex Machina is very far away. Recon does try to get the infantry in there. Neo-Tank strikes Recon, Neo-Tank strikes Recon, Tank strikes Recon. He decides not to merge them. Goes for Tank, Infantry. Doesn't have too much leftover funds, but does have 6,000 funds left on the next turn, so a lot of valuable assets he can utilize. Artillery does strike the Anti-Air. Bombolt still has a 2,000 income lead, it's not too bad. Alright, swaps with a capturing unit. Neo-Tank, Recon, Infantry. Bombolt starts to turn about 26,000, has 125,000 field versus Olaf's 151, so Olaf has about 1 turn advantage, I would say. A lot of good interrupts there, a lot of good strikes, though he will not be able to interrupt this capture, so there'll be even 25 versus 25,000 income. And Bombolt goes for a full stealth, which the Winter Fury will do a number to it, but he will still need a counter with his own fighter or his own stealth. Personally, I think a missile should be at least able to range stealths, but apparently that doesn't happen when they're camouflaged. Olaf's turn. Looks like Volbolt is trying to stabilize the game with that stealth. It's hard to say if it will. Definitely just send it up north to help hit the Neo-Tanks. Olaf has to send the Neo-Tank down south to stabilize this flank. Volbolt's starting to be aggressive down there. Lots of good hits there for Olaf. He's also trying to flip another property. This property down here has 12 capture progress remaining, so we'll take a couple more turns. Neo-Tank. Does take it up 2 off tank there. Battlecopter strikes Battlecopter. Stealth. And probably gonna do the camouflage immediately. Part of me wonders maybe you could wait another turn, but it would probably be spotted at that point in time. If the front line was here, he could wait a turn to stealth it, just to conserve the fuel, because you know how much fuel burns. That's a good bit of Neos. Yes, it is. Once you get above to 25,000, at least 22,000 plus the number of bases, -1, you can start pumping out Neo tanks every single turn. Not always a great idea, but it's generally a pretty effective idea. Battlecopter does range the artillery, but will be countered by the ATR that's right next to it. Of course, that artillery was in range of the Neo tank and still technically is, just won't be as effective. Ex Machina is now available. Right now, it would definitely strike the 2 Neo tanks. Probably strike right here if I hazard a guess. Another Neo tank, infantry. We go for the Ex Machina immediately. He sees his 2 Neo tanks. That could also allow his... The rocket is already in range of one of them. Does go for that kill first. He's holding his Ex Machina. He's going to soften up his opponent. It's still struck over here. If he didn't want to strike over here, then he could have perhaps dealt from the Neo tanks there, but he did go ahead and fire it off over here. Did lock down his own infantry units there, so it looks like it may have struck right there. Which I'm sort of surprised it didn't strike right here. That... Okay, because the infantry or the APC would get hit. Since the infantry is worthless, it decided to target it around the value of also the infantry as well as his own APC. Stealth strikes the Neo tank. Do of course have a Winter Fury, so that stealth will be struck pretty hard. When I say pretty hard, I mean by 2 damage, which honestly, it's pretty hard. Olaf would likely have to pull out a fighter next turn as well. Additionally, he can just pull back from his flank, so the stealth will have half movement in the winter. And immediately pops Winter Fury. Quite understandable. Recon strikes APC. And a lot of the stuff's going to be resupplied, like this rocket. Oh, 2 rockets going to get us resupplied there. He went for another rocket. I disagree with that. Tank battlecopter. I mean, even though his opponent has a superpower, he could have gone for triple infantry and wait out the storm. Yep, the stealth's movement range is not great, and no fighter there. Those who going to try to ignore the stealth, which is always a possibility. Did take out the APCs, forces another APC. The APC probably should start running towards over here, just so we can resupply the stealth one last time. Let's get some more victories on the left side. Olaf does 26,000 for 24,000. Tank gets knocked out, Neo tank. Tank, infantry, and of course APC. 4,000 funds remaining. Of course, there's a lot of repairs last turn. And Olaf decides to go for our fighter now. Battlecopter charging it forward just for a bit of spotting. Does spot the tank there. How devastating. 2 Neo tanks this region. Wood is in range of a rocket. The other one's nice and close. Got a couple recons over here. Olaf feels like or Bombo feels like he's in a bad position there for all these Neo tanks nearby. Olaf has 135, Bombo has 131, so they're actually pretty even right now. And usually the game goes on, the more Olaf tends to pull ahead. Oh, does get trapped there. And does throw some rounds there. Takes it out. And the APC is out of range. Yep. Wait. How much fuel does stealth burn each turn? It's 12, right? He'll be down to 1 fuel next turn. Oh, one reason why he pulled back, there's no way he needs to resupply. It's like 7 additional fuel upon the 5 base. I think it's 12, right? He really does need that resupply. If it is 13, oops. Tank, infantry, and of course battlecopter. Neo-tank falls back to the city. Olaf's turn. Neo-tank will take out the artillery. Regular tank does not spot the rockets. He spots the rocket now, and the rock gets hit pretty hard there. They can at least range the artillery before it goes down. Bombboat may need an anti-air to help hit the battlecopter and fighter. Triple flips there. You can at least interrupt the column power capture. You can interrupt this one with this infantry and interrupt this one with this infantry. Okay, only burnt went 13 down to 5, so burnt 8 fuel. Got it. All I just know on top of my head is that stealths burn a lot of fuel per turn. And I think it's at 0 fuel right now. Oh, 1. Got some hits over here. Takes out that tank thanks to the spore of the rocket. Went for the tank rather than the artillery. Interrupts the captures. Very nice. Blizzard's now available, which can be useful to help track that stealth and all the aircraft. Prevent them from running away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That Neo-tank's now in range of the rocket. The rocketsman and spots the rocket now and probably like, oh crap. He can at least charge for the Neo-tank to strike that rocket. I probably would do that myself as a 3 health Neo-tank. Not super useful anymore. Purple feels like making some good grounds over here. Oh, he charged forward to hit the recon, not the rocket. So this rocket will get a good shot onto that Neo-tank there. Olaf ends turn 151, Bombo starts turn 152, so they're still neck and neck in Valley, but feels like Purple's in a better position right now. Now the income has been stabilized. Get some good hits there. Stealth heading down south. It is, I believe, in range of the fighter, but in vision range is another matter, of course. The APC should start trailing the stealth, but don't stay next to it, it may reveal it. You can actually use the APC to bait out the fighter or unit trying to find the stealth. Some good hits down his health. The stealth can get a shot on the anti-air, or not anti-air, onto the fighter. No stealth near or anti-air nearby to hit this fighter, and Olaf does go ahead and resign. That resign may be a little bit too premature. He almost had a Winter Fury, and with our castle vision, we knew the stealth was not in a great position. But either way, Olaf has resigned. This Angrade saying, "Thank you for watching," and on to the next replay. Yeah, I think he resigned a bit too early there. I think it's still pretty even, honestly. He was starting to fall behind, but Winter Fury has just higher potential than Ex Machina, in my opinion. Either way, on to the next replay. This is one I was sort of going to cast. I don't really cast Sturm all too often, so this should be pretty fun. But give me a moment to adjust the visuals. This should be fine. Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn on the south side as the Orange Star Von Bolt. We got DM11. Spawn on the north side as a Purple Lightning Sturm. We got Archest. Wonder how this will go. Have I ever even cast a Sturm replay before? May have once before. I don't cast Sturm all too often, because he's usually a top tier. Mostly, I think, because of the high mobility. But of course, he also has less firepower, more defense. Counterpart being increased attack firepower and defense. So Sturm is going to have trouble to put the holes into Von Bolt, honestly. Sturm's superpower, I think, has higher potential than Meteor Strike. I think the superpower and power, I know he has a custom power in Byweb. I think it should be, Meteor Strike should be the regular name, and Meteor Strike should be Meteor Strike Beta. I can't think of a Sturm match we've done. True, yeah, because he's usually, top tier is usually banned. That's why you don't see too much Combi, or, let's see, or Hachi, Sensei. I can't remember all the top tier. Got double recon by Sturm. Oh yeah, the perfect movement. I always think perfect movement. If Lash's power was cheaper, she would be excellent recon CO. But Sturm, since he has perfect movement, his recons will be agile. You have 8 movement, you can use 8 movement. Tank here as well. And this is Fog's War as well, so even though his recons will be weaker, agility is something massive. He will have the lack of firepower, though. I would assume it would be equal, but no, he lost that fight. Tank infantry and more infantry. There's also a air from the back line. Column tower there as well. Sturm should have rushed on the column tower a bit quicker because the extra firepower is something he does actually sort of need. Recons are going to be excellent, or in the fact that they're also not excellent because of lack of firepower. He is starting to interrupt some of these captures, and fully stops that one. I hope does go and boost on the black boat. I love the some of the reboot camps CO themes. I think Sturm is definitely one of the better ones, but I think the best remake is probably Adder's power and superpower theme. In my opinion, that might be the best of the remakes. What do you all think? What do you consider the best remake of CO themes? I think it's debatable between Sturm and Adder. Granted, Adder's day-to-day is pretty normal, but his power and superpower is excellent, I would say. Good raids there. Of course, it only needs to follow up a shot there, since it can only stops by 1 turn rather than by 2. Got multiple recons there. Got a tank here as well. Got a number of tanks and course artillery as well. Good strike on the recon, of course. Of course, you can always fall back, stick to a force, and continue to be a recon. Let's get some damage there. Luckily, Sturm does have additional defense, even though at 2 health, his defense would be effectively plus 4% defense. Tank, infantry. Tank does strike tank. And what should we finish off there? This Bombo tank should be in range of Sturm's tank. Recon does strike down south. Recon strikes infantry. Does stop that unit there. This capture will be interrupted. Tank, artillery, infantry. Does pull back the 1 health recon to be a recon unit. We need to listen again, but I still honestly prefer all the old tracks. I do agree some of the new tracks are a bit misses. Some are good. Yeah, I think Sturm's power is pretty good remix, but his day-to-day theme, not as great. Tank, infantry, anti-air. I think Jess got a pretty good remix overall. But for Orange Star in general, it feels like most of their themes are side grades. Hard to say. I think it's a mixed bag, which is to be expected, honestly, when it comes to remixes. After all, Sturm or Hawk's day-to-day theme, and I don't know if it's like that in the new version for Reboot Camp. His old theme uses steel drums, the most menacing steel drums you ever hear. Because most of the time that's just happy Hawaiian music or Caribbean. Any other island nation, an island. To include North Sentinel Island. Got a couple, get a good strike on that tank there. Anti-air's a little bit far away by about 1 turn. And overall, Von Bolt has a pretty good contingent infantry up north. They both have 25 military in the field. At this exact moment, they both have 62,900, 62,900. And of course, deploys out his day-to-day income there, so it's no longer equal. 18,000, so Sturm does have income advantage opposed to 14. Anti-air Patrol 4 does interrupt the capture there. 10 capture progress remaining. Anti-air recon. A lot of recons there once again by Sturm. It's the infantry there and should be able to get out there. Good hits there. Does take the 1 health recon, trying to capture the despicable neutral properties. Sturm still has a 4,000 income advantage, but their deployment in the field is still pretty even. Hawk's turn. Not Hawk, Sturm's. Looks like this guy did get struck by a decent amount of artillery. Does take out the tank there. Sturm's making some gains. You can move this artillery from the beach to the forest to be struck by the tank. Excellent placement that would be. Heading down south is one artillery, and we're just rely on the fact that it's artillery in the forest to keep that safe. After all, you need a park unit right next to a spot to it. Decides to fall back on the region, good idea. Does have vision of this artillery. Does strike there. Sturm has meteor strike 1. I heard it's actually decent. It may not seem like much, but it's a 3 damage meteor rather than a 8 health damage meteor, which can be situationally good, though it's far more cost effective to go for the full superpower, of course. But if you see a nice cluster of units, you could drop it and try to finish them off. And not to mention as well, now his opponent has to constantly have to be worried about meteor strike. This power, I think, is not necessarily the fact that he can deploy a weaker meteorite earlier on is his main strength. But I think the biggest strength is now, if your opponent doesn't constantly have to worry about a meteor from falling from the sky, has to constantly worry about keeping stuff too dense, then he can drop it. I think it's the biggest part about his power is not necessarily the effectiveness, it's the looming threat. Because now he has to be smart how he ends his turn. Granted, he can rely on Fog of War, but still. Infantry tank. Of course, Sturm has to be careful about Ex Machina. Storm's meteor in Advanced Wars by Web still follows up 3 patterns of the meteors: the HP, the value, or the indirect. While Von Bolt always strike value. And if I remember correctly as well, Sturm's meteor has to target a unit and then spread out from there, while Von Bolt's superpower can strike an empty tile and spread out from there, if I remember correctly. Assuming that's also the same as the cartridge counterpart. That's from a Meng's video back when he was talking about Sturm's meteor, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since last seen that video. I think it probably came out like 3 years ago, either way. Tank infantry. And it looks like Sturm is saving up his power and superpower. You can always try for 1-2 punch from Meteor Strike. I'm not sure how effective that would be. Battlecopter, tank, recon, infantry. Does get some good strikes there. Does get a hit there. Meteor can be summoned. I wonder if he's going for the Ex Machina. Ex Machina will highly likely strike over here. So could strike here. That's quite a bit of value there. Tank, tank, recon. It's hard to say where the meteor strike because HP would definitely land here. Value would likely strike around here as well. Indirect will go for the highest value where indirects are double value, which so indirect and value will both strike the same spot since there's no directs on the field for Vombolt. So let's see where this lands. It does go and strike right there. Strikes this infantry unit directly, so this entire group is at 2 health. That is 2 health, so easily gets picked off. This tank it should be 2 health as well. This infantry is at full health. So Sturm's making some great advance down south. He broke that wall entirely. Apparently dropping a meteorite on a bunch of infantry units' heads is a great way to break a wall. Recon tank, battlecopter, recon. Ex Machina will very likely strike over here, though I do see... No, it will likely strike right here. Oh, struck right here. So this tank's also locked down. So Vombolt has a double turn effectively up north. He can quickly go and picks off the unweighted units, allowing the weighted units to be picked off the next turn, which is a good idea. You only have to have this tank, recon, and potentially this battlecopter to stop to advance down south. Recon does strike the infantry there. Trying to form a battle line. Tank, tank, and infantry. Right now, Sturm has a 97 value in the field. Vombolt has 94, so it looks like Sturm is ahead because he sells his day-to-day. And income's also ahead by 6,000, so Sturm is doing quite well. If he's starting to gun down, he's able to sprint across the mountains. This is the more powerful part of Sturm. It's the ability to sprint. Perfect movement is excellent. T-copter, infantry, tank, tank. So he wants to try to push the infantry unit down south to start capturing some properties, maybe leftwards. Anti-air tank infantry. Both are 103,000 on the field. Of course, Sturm has his day-to-day, so Sturm's ahead by about a turn. And his artillery in good positions there to shell across the mountains. One of the few times where I say a rocket would be good. And think like I said beforehand, perfect movement. His rockets are actually going to get to the front line, so Sturm can be decent CO for rockets. Or on the fact that they lack 20% firepower, that's a bit of a problem there. Pulls back some infantry units there, rotates them around. Tank strikes tank. Both players, of course, have 2 comm towers, neither of them being threatened at the moment. Tank, tank, infantry, battlecopter. Recon will spot the artillery. Which one of these tanks will head to the artillery? Good hits there, but he's in range of the artillery. But Storm did take some pretty big hits there. Some of these things starting to get hit. Does lose his battlecopter there. Storm has another battlecopter here. Though aircraft already are affected by perfect movement, so not likely to go any faster. We do have a meteor strike too. I'm not sure it's going to be useful right now. Anti-air tank mech. Looks like Vomble's gonna head up north. Infantry units are getting hit and broken. Does lose another anti-air there. Vomble's just tank spam. It's just being very effective. We do have a battle copter by Sturm right here. Of course, do have an anti-air by Vomble. Battle copter does get struck. Sturm's turn. Sentry unit there and there. Lots of good picks there. Just being an anti-air and battlecopter in the fog. Never mind, they're no longer in fog of war. And it does pull back the wounded battlecopter away from the anti-air, of course, and the battlecopter. And this anti-air is a little bit farther behind, so going to have some issues with that battlecopter in the near future. Got mechs heading down the mountain. Mechs already pretty much affected by perfect movement, so not like the Sturm's day-to-day mobility affects them. Lots of good hits there. Anti-air checks it out. Meteor strike now available. Hard to say exactly where it lands. Probably directly hit this recon. It could actually strike over here. This seems like a good spot for that meteor. I think the meteor's going to land right here. Now see where it lands. There's actually quite a bit of stuff down here, but 5,000 to wound units. I think it would strike right here. Battlecop's of course 9,000. Then again, of course, it's also if it's HP, it would likely land down here, of course. If it's value, it will likely strike right here at this moment. He's probably going to try to manipulate where it lands, but killing off some units that don't require the meteor to land. Oh! Value did strike here. It was likely preordained to land there, barring the fact that it was value versus HP. His movements there to direct its landing was not necessary, but still always a good idea. It's fog of war, you have no idea what's going to go on. But the fact that he saw the meteorite strike over here should give an indication that there was a threat there, but now it's no longer a threat, being all 2 health. So you can be a hyper aggressiveness flank here. But here comes Ex Machina. I have a feeling it's going to strike somewhere around here. There's a lot of tanks. Ooh. Yep, right here. That's a lot more value. There's a lot of units here, but some is quite wounded and not high value. Did strike approximately right here. And so this flank is done for. This flank is done for. So the same flank is done for. His wounded tank's trying to push on in, rotate around. Both sides, this flank's also pretty much done for both sides. Well, both sides have been losing everything. Let's see now. Vomble ends the turn with 89,000. Sturm has 107, so Sturm has a 2-day advantage approximately. 22,000 versus 19, so the income disparity is not too bad at the moment. Still a despicable neutral property up there. The Sturm should be able to rectify that soon. Got a mech spam going down south for the winter. After all, he is affected by snow, so he has to go south for the winter. Tank anti-air recon. Gets a good strike there on that tank. However, with our cast vision, we see the artillery in range as well. Tank on tank, battlecopter heading up north. Tank does strike tank there and there. And hits the anti-air as well. Wounded battlecopter does hit the wounded battlecopter. Tank infantry, battlecopter infantry. Artillery and auxiliary does get a shot there. Of course, minus 20% firepower with plus 3 stars, the extra defense. It would still take a beating, that tank. Decides to go for a property flip. That's actually a better target. It's better to go for a property flip than a neutral capture, because it's denies income. Change the value between two players' income by 2,000. This just improves your income by 1,000. Battlecopter's close to 1% health. It's probably at 1% health right now. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, mech. I love these games where it's just not a stall fest. It's just constant grinding against each other. I've been loving these games. I feel like I've been getting some good casts in today. Tank on tank. Hits the city there. Does get trapped. Good hits there. Of course, the artillery's in range. Does go infantry, E-tier, tank. Needs some force to stabilize this region. Battlecopter seemed pretty good idea. Invulnerable does not, or Storm does not have any E-tiers in the region. Takes out the infantry unit there with the artillery. Takes out that battlecopter there. Recon taking a shot at the E-tier. It's of course Sturm recon, so they have horrible firepower. Meteor Strike 1 can be summoned. As the game goes on, Meteor Strike 1 seems a bit more tempting due to his lower power charge. If he feels like he wants to try to win the game, he could go for the power and smash through a small area rather than hard. Because right now, Vulnerable can't really be forward hit by the small meteor, let alone the large meteor. They have pretty sizable income disparity, or field deployment, about a full turn at the moment. A little over a full turn. Sturm still has a 3,000 income as well. Looks like Sturm's trying to fall back up north. There's a good number of tanks here. The level 1 meteor will likely strike in this area. Then again, yeah, both, I think, HP and value will strike right here. And again, there's a lot of value stuff contested there. HP will definitely strike right here. Recon, mech, battlecopter. It's 185,000, 95,000. Sorry, not this game again? This is the first time I'm casting it, unless somebody else casted it. Much better. This Monday's much better. I don't have a bad back. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Yeah, I think I slipped the disc or pinched a nerve on last Sunday, and I was not really feeling much up for anything. Good hit there on the APC, and APC does go down. Infantry, tank. Does take out the unit there. Sturm's trying to really push forward. Sturm has 145,000, Vulnerable has 109. Both players getting closer to superpower, though as close as 10 stars could be. Lots of good picks there. Tanks coming for a bit of flank. ATO's hitting up down from the south. Sturm level 2 meteor likely strike. Can your meteor strike target your own tank there as a target? Because if it can, it would be devastating if it landed right here. Oh, he pulls back that 1 health tank there. Could it strike the A-tier? Mech gets an excellent strike there. Artillery interrupts the capture and stops the capture. Interrupts that capture there. Tank. Oh. Oh, Blackbill drew a lot of value there. I'm glad by the game. I meant this game, not match. I don't have a clue what's going on. I think I played a similar... I'm not sure about Polytopia this. Advance Wars by Web is a web version of an old game series that started on the Game Boy Advance. Wait, doesn't Advance Wars come from the fact that it was on Game Boy Advance? How have I not realized all this time? A lot of games go by, Nintendo games do go by on what console I've got, like Paper Mario 64, a lot of 64 games on the 64. Is Advance Wars called Advance Wars because it's on the Game Boy Advance? Because Game Boy Advance Wars. Have I just now put that together? I'm an idiot. Because the first was Super Famicom Wars, and it was on the Super Famicom. God damn it, why did I just now realize that? Nope, there's Ex Machina. They struck his tank that was completely surrounded, so I think that's perfectly fine. I actually know it struck right here. Tank does strike the mech there. Pretty good counterattack, hitting multiple targets. Battle cover strikes battle cover. All these wooden units are just slugging each other. What's left of them? He's captured one more capture progress there. Let's see now. Storm has 119 and Bombbolt has only 69, which is not a nice amount to have at the moment. Good hits there. Tank's down to pretty much 1% health. Of course, all these units are now have a double tenant against them, but it's not like there's much left of these vehicles. APC deployed in the field. Not sure if they use all you. Probably resupply the T-copter. Maybe a good idea to pull the T-copter all the way back. I don't know if it's worth to spend the funds, but either way, Bombbolt has resigned. As Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Let's see now. I sort of did, what, 2 games with him? Was it 3? So let's go into another replay. Just save this one for a little bit later. This one would be good. 2 different players. There we go, and expand. Actually, stop a little bit. There we go. I think that's good. Either way, adjust this a little bit. And there we go. Oh, yep, get some good rest. Always good idea to get some good amount of sleep. You can always watch the live stream later or later on when I actually get these released as videos. So let's go and get started. Greetings everyone, and Great here with another Advance Wars by Web replay. So on the north side is the Silver Claw Kindle, got Moose. So on the south side is the Green Earth Drake, got Ambition. Let's see how well his Ambition does. Of course, this is a 3-base map, 1 airport. Of course, Drake is particularly notable, the fact that his battlecopters suck. And Kindle is also quite intriguing to always see her gameplay with the urban attacks. I always view her as the retaliation commander. After all, if you say have a tank on top of the city that gets hit by another tank, pull it back, bring up another tank on top of the city and retaliate, and probably one shot of the counterattack. Got early T-copter by Kindle here. Drake, while being a naval specialist, still has completely and utterly ordinary vehicles, so there's nothing wrong for him to be used on land maps. His superpower is quite nice. And of course, on Fog War games, the colors can reduce your opponent's vision range without rain. Excuse me. Got a tank here. Here are common powers sent on the map as well. If you are curious what counts as urbanized terrain when it comes to Kindle, this description of does provide the list, which includes HQ, bases, airports, seaports, cities, labs, comm towers. So these spent missile silo platforms do not count as urbanized terrain. Comm towers and cities, yes. Got a tank now deployed on the field, second tank. Drake is going forward to the piece, maybe trying to break up this pipe, seem to have better exiting capability. Does interrupt the capture quite nicely. And Drake has really been aggressive towards the flanks. Kindle has not expanded out all too quickly. My apologies, I'm also about to sneeze. This infantry unit does get dropped off in front of the recon, but could be used for bait for the tank. Of course, well, leaving this infantry unit not picked off means it will capture the property next turn, so it's quite a good idea to stop the capture entirely. And decides to pull back, so Drake will forfeit the city. Got another tank, infantry. Got 2 artillery on south, 1 recon tank up north for Drake. Kindle is just going for a large number of tanks. See 3 tanks back in the base. Now there's only 2 in the back of the base. Does spot this recon there. Probably too aggressive to push the tank forward like that, and decides just to wait the tank on top of the comm tower. I just hear a lot of capturing there. Both cars at 19,000. Tank anti-air infantry. Jenny want to go for anti-air no later by turn 10, which both players have an anti-air no longer later by turn 10. It can be a safe gamble for Kindle to not go for anti-air because she is fighting against Drake, who has horrible battlecopters. And so she can make a gamble that Drake's not going to go for a battlecopter. You can occasionally see them, but you don't see too many of them. They're really not good. Minus 30% firepower is massive. Artillery has quite a bit of wall infantry to accompany them. Let's strike that unit up there. Tank, infantry, and we do in fact have a Drake battlecopter, so gotta eat a bit of crow. Luckily, it was nice and tender. Nice little boost there, so it could be another infantry unit or mech. So let's go with the infantry unit there, and we got a Neo tank deployed up by Kindle. She does have 23,000 income, so it's not like she can pull out a Neo tank every turn yet. And the infantry unit does get hit by the artillery in the auxiliary. And Drake has a pretty sizable death ball right there. Nothing hyper lethal, just hyper resilient. And Drake does want to go for the long game with Tsunami and Typhoon. Kindle is situational. Kindle's interesting. I do understand why Urban Blight is powerful. It is an excellent ability, but High Society is still a good ability. Because right now she has 24,000 income. Actually, if I were just to click on one of her units, she has 27 properties, which means if High Society will give her a plus 81% firepower bonus globally, that's actually massive. High Society is good, just Urban Blight's excellent. Does get a nice little pick there in the tank. Might as well, you see the city there, that could be a great way to project off to another tile there, plus in the city as well. If she's able to knock out the recon, then this tank get a boosted strike from off of it onto this tank here. And if she gets an Urban Blight, she can soften up the recon first, and then get a massive boost strike in turn, because her day-to-day power is plus 40% firepower from attacking from urbanized terrain. Her power boosts up to a staggering 80%, along with the 1 calm power and plus 10 for action power superpower. That is effectively plus 100% firepower in total. Her tanks can start one-shotting from urban terrain to other tanks. Battlecopters, of course, can also be affected by it as well. Though this tank is in range of artillery, but only 1 artillery unit. Of course, Urban Blight's not available this turn, so no chance of her getting that massive firepower benefit. But we will see this battlecopter going to get shot down by this anti-air, giving Urban Blight to his opponent. Of course, we see Drake has a massive force down here. Kendall needs to get some reinforcements over here, and with her power and superpower, I think it's better to go for a larger number of regular tanks rather than go for a larger number of mutant tanks or neo tanks. Just because she wants to make use of the urban terrain, her high society will boost up her units like crazy, able to punch through walls no problem. But she needs a massive unit to break through walls rather than a quality of units, particularly in this case. Neo-tank sailing down south is always and tank and anti-air, so she's preparing a bit of a wall break. She has almost enough high society. Urban Blight could be a good alternative if Drake ends his turn next to a number of cities. She only gets 1 boost strike off a city, but that could be just enough to break through a wall. The high society also proved the urbanized terrain damage up to a staggering 130%. And let's just take that 81% increased firepower in total. That is over 210% firepower bonus for attacking from a city. That is absolutely insane. That's column level firepower, power of money firepower bonuses. Granted, like I said, has to be on top of a regular city. Tank infantry, or neo-tank infantry. It's that unit there. Anti-air strikes the unit. We'll get boost strikes right there. Neo-tank strikes infantry unit there. Out of range of artillery, though this tank is in range of artillery. It is spotted there. Anti-air could be baited into the T-copter, which could allow for battlecopters to push forward. I'm not sure these battlecopters are within visual range. Right now, my offhand calculation says they are not. Tank battlecopter recon. Drake is still a little bit far away from Typhoon, but it is achievable. But likely high society or Urban Blight will come first. Okay, so that tank there hits the anti-air as well, so high society is now available. Bit of rotation around. Let's see, Urban Blight or high society? Here comes high society. She has 30 properties. That is plus 90% firepower global. She's really just one-shotting a lot of stuff. Look at this. I just want to pull that up. That's like 300% damage. 255. Flipping that property there. Battlecopter will strike that infantry in there. Takes it out as well. Infantry, that will be a one-shot as well. Easy one-shot. Anti-air gets some damage there. Tank strikes, finish off that infantry there. Allows our battlecopter to strike forward. Takes out the artillery easy. I am curious as well about that. Easy one-shot. Another battlecopter push forward. Takes out that recon, no problem. Tank strikes infantry unit there. Neo-tank. Even on top of a city, that's probably 150% damage. I always love seeing big numbers. 154%, good enough guess by me. And now this booster strike there, that is going to be 200%. 187%. This entire flank got demolished. Neo-tank recon infantry. Maybe not a good idea to go for a neo-tank this turn, because Typhoon. Drake starts the turn 125,000 of day-to-day income at 145. Kindle has 185, and will likely go down to 140. 145. So right now they have equal value. Of course, Drake has to be careful about the retaliation damage. It is quite high. Of course, safe engagement against infantry is always quite nice. Look at this. 8 full. 4 4. Like I said, high retaliation damage. Drake lost that fight. But it does interrupt the capture even further. T-copter infantry, anti-air infantry. Of course, the rain. Kindle has very poor vision this turn. And there is, of course, this Neo to the field. Her day-to-day income gets reduced down to 15,000 income. And she will have to fight additional 10% defense as well as have wounded units, but that's manageable. Tank strikes tank. Battlecruiser will finish off. Does park itself next to an anti-air. Neo-tank does strike the Neo-tank. Battlecopter finish falls below. It's only one anti-air, so that anti-air can only take out one of the battlecopters, so that's probably a good trade. Allow to get multiple battlecopter strikes in the price of one battlecopter. Plus, it'll also give her an urban blight, which could be useful. Tank infantry. Ends the turn of 300 funds in the bank. 149,000 versus 116. Does get trapped there. Battlecopter does get shot down. Tank gets shot up. Neo-tank head down south to onto the city, trying to get repairs. Both their Neo-tanks effectively knocked out. My apologies if you hear my drink open up. Getting a little bit thirsty. Another Neo-tank. So Drake has 3 Neo-tanks field, but really 2 and very little Neo-tanks. Kindle does have 1.5 Neo-tanks. Those pull back to the Neo-tank to get repaired. Or she will start to have some fuel issues since the Typhoon. With the amount of battlecopters field, if Drake does not see an APC, he could pop a tsunami to knock out the battlecopters. Another Neo-tank infantry. She does have over 24,000 income, so she can afford a Neo-tank every turn. But I really would recommend for her to eye an APC for battlecopters down south, because they are starting to run a little bit dry. If they do start running dry, don't worry about losing them, because they're already pretty much lost then. This tank has been bypassed. Good there on this tank. Will take a bit of time to get this captured on up. Gotta flip up north, which looks like it will be successful once you even take out the battlecopter, and that honestly the entire map. Only battlecopters here. Oh, there's an anti-air right there. If you say a anti-air as in 1 anti-air health, then yes. Neo-tank strikes tank and finish off with that same anti-air, now at 3 health. Is a good fix there. Oh, has almost enough for another high society. Drake has a tsunami available. Kindle may want to get her battlecopters ready to be a suicidal charge for the high society. Because even though that minus 2% health, the extra high damage it will be absurd. Anti-air tank infantry. High society is now available. And Drake is taking defensive position. Kindle could scout out the anti-air. Probably a good idea to do that. And we've got multiple properties being flipped here. Kindle right now has 26,000 versus Drake's 22. This is very important, these flips. And pops to Urban Blight. She doesn't feel confident to get a Doom push going. The last one was very good. Tank does strike their Recon. Infantry finishes off. Neo Tank heading up north. And General pull back. Does from APC, Battlecopter, Tank, Infantry. She realizes these Battlecopters taking some fuel. Need some fuel. And overall, just use Urban Blight to soften up her opponent. Does strike this Neo Tank, which is quite important. There's also a base skip last turn. It's Infantry, Neo Tank. And that's about it. Actually, no, this Infantry got hit as well. But not great Urban Blight. But hitting a Neo Tank is okay. Did drink quite a bit of fun. So Drake right now has 21,000 income versus 27. That is massive. So hitting that Neo Tank is actually quite important. He can't be affording to repair up a Neo Tank like that. Some good strikes there. Infantry trying to flip that city. Neo Tank strikes tank. Tank, recon, recon. With Mountain Neo Tank's field, he does need better spotters for them. Neo Tank strikes Neo Tank, and there is a tsunami. She could try softening up her opponent with a Urban Blight. It would definitely soften up this tank. These two Neo Tanks do stay off those cities. That won't be too big a deal. Would strike a number of cities in the back line. Infantry, 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 Battlecopter. Looks like she did skimp out a little bit there, which is good. And these Battlecopters are actually getting pretty low because we're the next tsunami. That one's very low in the river. Typhoon cast. Neo Tank strikes Neo Tank, which almost gives her on. Has a high society available. Strikes both those Neo Tanks, which is critical. Even used the E tier to strike the Neo Tank and was successful. Well, with an Urban Blight, she knows she will hit this tank, an infantry unit, and this anti-air there. And potentially boost strike onto this tank. Hard to say though. Let's see, these Battlecopters has 13 and 8 fuel. And the APC is out of range. Get some good hits there, so it looks like no power nor superpower this turn. Pulls it back slightly. High society right now, let's see. Would effectively make these Battlecopters act as full health Battlecopters, which is not great, but not bad. Okay, so the anti-air there. This Neo Tank will be at full health next turn. Sees multiple cities being captured, so an Urban Blight could interrupt those captures, giving another turn to stop them. Oh. With this Neo Tank, of course, with our Castle Vision, I think Urban Blight would be excellent. Not only interrupt those captures, but also the Neo Tank among other units as well. Also this infantry unit there. Yep, Urban Blight with our Castle Vision was going to be very devastating and is devastating. Because after all, Drake's still at 21,000 income versus 27,000. She had Drake right now has 152 versus 134. Of course, it's not updating because you can see the full health vehicles. So right now they're probably close to equal value. Get some good interrupts, of course. A global interrupt, if you will. Tank, infantry. Neo Tank falls back even further. Knows there's two Neo Tanks over there. Has to be very careful. And the Battlecopters are wounded, so they're not going to be excellent. Yep. Drake starts turn with 116,000 in the bank. That Neo Tank is next to a property. Of course, it's 3 health Neo Tank. Oh, we now know as well. It's another Urban Blight. Drake could get hit hard again. Of course, it's for our cast division once again. And having her get up to another Urban Blight is very likely. Interrupts the caption even further. Urban Blight's now available. Battlecop tank infantry. Yeah, these 9 health Neotanks should not be ending their turn on any sort of property. I understand trying to get healed on up, but it's against Kindle. 9 health is adequate. Both sides sort of setting on up. They are pretty much even when it comes to value on the field. It's just day-to-day differences at this moment in time. Capture progress remaining. Gets a good hit down there. Both sides setting up another attack. Recon infantry. Looks like Kindle wants to have some spotting because they are unable to make any moves until they don't see the opponent enough to feel comfortable to attack. They'll all see whoever attacks first will probably lose, because, for example, if these Neotanks charge forward, then these Neotanks will counterattack with severe damage. Drake feels like he's in a better position down here, but Kindle still has a force to contend with it. All depends who gets a better engagement at that one time. Says a coin flip who wins down south, and up north. Feels like Kindle's in a better position. I think Kindle has a better position up north. Battlecopter, artillery, infantry. Both sides are sort of setting on up. Slight hit there. Does take out the recon. But not too far of a position, so striking those things probably not a good idea. If our cast division knows it's not a good idea with the battle copters in reserve. Neotank infantry. Tank will strike the tank. The artillery should probably start pushing forward to cover that tank. No, they did not. Not really. Kindle does have recon somewhat close by, so we can advance forward and get some spotting. Very far forward, so that recon's done for. It's in range of 2 artillery pieces, to say the least. Sees the anti-airs, but it's a 4 health battlecopter, so second anti-air to hit the battlecopter is not a good idea. Maybe the idea to go for tsunami. It will put 1 damage globally, as well as reduce everything's fuel. Audience being weighted. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Some good hits there. This engagement looks like it's on. Possible Typhoon this turn, but it's really hard to say. No, it's not going forward. He's still keeping their Neotanks reserve, which is good. And Drake does spot both of those Neotanks. Kindle is not being hyper-aggressive. Both sides being defensive, just small skirmishes on the front lines. Got another APC over here. Some wood units. Looks like some of these infantry units need some burgers. More rations. Remember what Sun Tzu said? Don't live off the land. Foraging off the land is never economically feasible. Or logistically feasible, I should say. Because after all, berries are actually pretty not nutritious. Because their caloric intake is not high enough or to warrant really any sort of athletic behavior unless you're trying to lose some weight. After all, look at a pound of strawberries. That's like 200 calories. An average diet just to maintain your weight is, if you're sedentary, is like 1,500. And if in the military, constantly marching around, it's closer to 5,000. If you're athletic, it's 3,000. But if you're in an extremely strenuous field, whether it be military or something construction, we are constantly working, which that's actually also not realistic for a lot of construction workers. It's close to 5,000 calories. I remember when I was in basic training, I went into basic training around 180, 190 pounds, and I left basic training at 160, and I'm 6 foot, so... Yep. Plus, I was eating much better, but still. Apparently I was not necessarily eating enough. And I was stuffing my stomach full every single meal. Both sides still posturing, just small skirmishes, nothing too significant. Does got some units there, nice little booster strike from the city. That's the power of Kindle, that booster strike. She has day-to-day. Drake does not really. It's more of a detrimental day-to-day in most situations. Another Neotank infantry. We likely will see a tsunami this turn. And that will nerf Kindle quite significantly. Drake has 154,000 field, Kindle has 145. Lots of good picks up there. He's feeling more counter-charge force since everything is wounded. But High Society will overcome the wounded aspect with the sheer firepower. So after all, minus 20% firepower of a total of, what, last time I checked, 90, is still above 60% firepower in total. And there's the superpower. Let's see what her... It's still 30 properties. Plus 90%, minus 20 times it by 80%. So you got something around in the 60s, plus 60% globally offhand math. Which is still quite significant. Artillery gets good strike there in the tank. Tank hits tank. And as well, she is fighting against rain, which means less vision. Does spot that Neo tank. Of course, also less mobility as well. As normally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That Neo tank would be in range of Neo tank, but not in this case. The 6 health battlecopter beat a 4 health battlecopter. It is on top of a city, so still managed to get an easy kill there. What was that late calculation change there? Still, 120% firepower. Granted, right now that battle cop at like 200% of additional firepower. And there's going to be another boost strike. That's going to be a dead tank. Oh yeah. I love this. I just think Kindle is just a pretty good CEO. Yeah, her stuff is going to hit hard. There's that infantry unit there. Neo tank creeps way forward. Multiple Neo. We got 4 Neo tanks this region. Drake's turn. Oh, looks like the sort of got doubled up stuff. Just give me a moment. Oops. Stuff is starting to break a little bit. My apologies. Yeah, here we go. There's a lot of anti-airs here. Better shooting gallery, that'll give him some power charge going, of course. Gotta be careful about this city there. If he attacks it and doesn't take it out, it will retaliate pretty hard. Couple Neo tanks here, so Green has a massive force here, but Kindle has a very good force still down south. Infantry, anti-air, anti-air. Good hits there. Good hits down the south. Battlecraft shooting away in the corner. 2730 fuel. No APC in the region, so they may need to be a bit more suicidal. Battlecopter tank infantry. Another property flip here. Kindle still has 27,000. Drake's at 21. Drake has 129,000 starting versus 153 with its day-to-day income. They're still neck and neck. But now we've got multiple Neo-tanks in range of our artillery unit. It's good hits over there. Neo-tank is struck. We'll take out the Neo-tank entirely there. I think as well, if the Neo-tanks manage to break through here, take out the artillery, then another Neo-tank can strike from the property to that Neo-tank. That can be a little bit difficult. It's probably a bit... don't think it's going to be possible, though. Actually, maybe possible now. Nope, infantry push in front. Infantry, Neo-tank. Got 2 Neo-tanks over here as well. Drake right now has 5 Neo-tanks in the field, while Kindle has 5 as well. Good hit there from the artillery. Does come anti-air there. Tank on tank. Tank on tank there. Urban Bike brought him in. Neo-tank strikes Neo-tank. Tank gets hit by the battlecopter there and there. Battlecopter, artillery, infantry. Good hits there and there. Oh, there's a superpower. Managed to squeeze it out. Wasn't paying close enough attention to it. Drake may be a bit more aggressive this turn. He has blind Kindle a little bit. Of course, it's a high society, which means she's going to massive counterattack going. These battlecopters are so low in fuel, but they're not going to be resupplied. The APC is way up here. Has 9 fuel remaining itself, so this battlecopter is likely done for. So, probably be hyper-aggressive with them. High Society, Urban Blight. Maybe a time for High Society. As the artillery. Actually, she may be just pulling back. Probing way forward. Looks like she's not going to pop either power this turn. If she wouldn't pop either power at least the start of turn to get +10/+10, so she's probably going for neither. Pulls back motor units there, trying to get resupplied. Artillery, recon, infantry. Ends the turn with her superpower still intact. Drake has 120,000 fuel, Kindle has 172, so that last tsunami was quite devastating. Picks out some outlying infantry units there, and the battlecopter as well. This battlecopter has 8 fuel remaining, so next one should have 6. $141 versus 176. Looks like she's not popping High Society this turn either. Looks like not Urban Blight either. She might be waiting for the next turn. Battlecopter has 4 health remaining. Try and flip 2 more properties. 3 capture progress, and of course 10 capture progress remaining. And Drake does fall back a little bit there, trying to use these properties and here's his bait. Oh, can't hit next turn, not sure why. Gonna rewind turn. Can't hit next turn. I wonder if she resigned this turn. Gonna hit the next turn button here and see what happens. It's not doing anything. Alright, I'm just going to move this over to... No, I'm just going to scroll down. And yep, looks like this is a turn where Kindle has resigned. Oh, either way, this Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. My apologies for that sort of weird ending, but it is a resign without the official resign notification. Before I get started on the next replay, I do need to use the restroom. Please give me a moment. My apologies, I am back. Yeah, I probably have time for one last replay tonight, so I'm gonna go through my list and try to find the best one. I just did Drake vs. Kindle, so perhaps not this one. Oh, this is definitely my best replay. So, let's do this one. This will be the last replay for tonight. Let's see. That seems pretty good. So, let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Great here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. As well on the north side as Nor Eclipse Lash, we got Lovi. As well on the south side as the Amber Blaze Drake, got Scalp. Either way, let's go ahead and get started. We do have, looks like a 3-base map. There's also a handful of cities here with 1 health recon detected. This base is completely isolated. We do sort of a lander there. And of course, Lash, be careful with this lander because of Drake, with his not only the fuel drain, but also the health drain. So there's going to be occasional problems here. This Black Bull, of course, can get hit by the drain spill, which could be occasionally useful for boosting some nutrients in this little pond there. The salt lake there. So, as Life saying, it's definitely be cut greatly short with the fuel drain effect. Early recon by Drake. And Lash, let's go for artillery there. The problem, I still don't like the Nor Eclipse color scheme. I'm not going to change it because that's what the player selected. But its dark color makes it so much hard to see what's on top or underneath, on top of cities and other properties. It is called Nor Eclipse. It's supposed to be in the black hole. Nope, do have now a map deployed up north. Recon now advancing. I do also love the Nor Eclipse's HQ has a big money symbol right there. Does take out the, what's it called, pipe seam. Mech did throw a round into that. Infantry does get hit there. That was fun to recon there. Flash doesn't have anything to stop that recon at the moment, but she is starting to reconnoiter down south. Spots this recon there. The recon could, let's see, this infantry unit can move 1, 2, 3, so it can spot everything but this tile. So I think the recon should go to this forest tile there to get another turn staying alive. Because this one has to, one of these units has to spot, the other unit has to kill, and the only place where they both can't meet up is this tile. Lash did lose her recon down south. Got a recon and tank up here. Recon in the center. Lash is going for a number of tanks, artillery, and has the mech. Artillery and tank here. So Drake maybe now eyeing to barrage down this pipe scene. I realized something. Well, Lash fired from the forest there for a little bit extra firepower, didn't she? I'm not sure if that improves the time it takes to break a pipe scene, but with a mech, maybe it does. And maybe some exact map there. She does go for a battle copter there. Tank does take a strike in the infantry unit there and miss on the recon because out of vision range. This tank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is out of range of this tank there. Battlecopter, anti-air, and infantry. Just top of this city there. Recon falls back to this forest there. And this tank is out of vision range while also being a 3-star defense. Another recon. Capture both those cities down south. Same down here. Infantry. Tank will interrupt the capture. However, it did have this tank spotted there. Does not see the other tank though. So Lash will get a nice early victory here. She is lacking ET at the moment. She does have 2 battlecopters in return though. So 1 battlecopter should head over here for anti-air purposes at minimum. Tank, recon, and tank. Of course, these are Drake battlecopters, so not too particularly great. Minus 30% firepower, which is quite not good. Tank does strike tank from the 3-star platform, giving her plus 30% firepower. However, doesn't range the artillery. However, the battlecopter strikes the artillery. However, nothing else, however. Infantry, tank, battlecopter, infantry. Tank may... The 3-star defense saves the tank there. Could fall back to his city there. No anti-air in the region. The tank could actually push forward and get some scouting, or the recon go forward. If she charges forward, sees nothing, then her battlecopters can still go for another sortie. I'm trying to pull back. Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to sack the tank or the recon there. She knows that the pipe seam's still there, so this tank could charge forward right here or here in order to... she has vision right there, so charge forward, get on top of this shore there, and spot nothing. No anti-air, nothing. Does push down right there first. I think she should have scouted first. Interrupts the capture even further. I think it's a good strike there on the infantry unit. Interrupts the comm tower capture. She has a comm tower. Drake does not. Anti-air is a little bit far away from the battlecopter. Does machine gun the artillery a little bit. I probably had that 2 health infantry unit goes with a 1 health artillery as well. Strikes the tank there. Of course, it's a Drake battlecopter. Sorry, I'm always surprised how bad Drake battlecopters are. Lash has her power, so can give her perfect movement, which can be quite nice as a number of roads that impedes the recons. Not roads, planes impede the recons, as well as forests impede everything. Little battlecopters here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like Lash sees the anti-air, so she knows where to play around, and which means play around everything. Good picks there. A lot of picks there. Takes out the artillery there. Tank finished off the recon. Lots of good picks there. That is in range of the anti-air, of course. Well, with the amount of battlecopters in the region, Anti-air charging forward, hitting a battlecopter could make it susceptible to being knocked out by a nearby tank while the other battlecopters rain supreme. There is another anti-air there, which she does not have vision on that tile. Battlecopter strikes tank. Tank gets knocked out. Hits that tank there. Drake's Typhoon has been summoned, wounding everything that Lash has. She has 80,000 field versus 93, so Drake has advantage, but her Prime Tactics is available next turn. Infantry, Battlecopter, Tank. And here comes Lash's Prime Tactics. There's a kill there. She of course will have double defense sword. She has a rocket up north. I'm not sure how useful that would be. I'm usually not a fan of rockets, but a rocket on top of the city could be quite safe. Or on the battlecopter. And she is fighting in the rain. Tank. Good hits there. Battlecopter does strike the rocket, but somehow only does 2 points of damage. Was there bad luck with that? I know I say I'm always laughing how bad Drake battlecopters are, but this is a battlecopter hitting a rocket. He needed full luck in order to get 3 damage. Drake's battlecopters suck. Not to mention he doesn't have this comm tower. In fact, Lash is going to get that comm tower. So Lash will have 20% firepower global, which maybe more completely affected her day-to-day passive. Since defense stars, the amount of defense you gain is reduced. No, it shouldn't affect like that. I know luck does get more completely affected by percent fire increases, such as from comm towers. But I don't know if Lash's terrain stars also get affected by that as well. Like, what depends what the order operations are. Resupplies and refuels the battlecopter, very nice. Because if it's percent firepower after the comm towers, it would be multiplied. If the comm towers get affected after the defense star attack bonus gets applied, then actually we can do a quick test of that if you don't mind. We'll just select a Drake tank and put on top of a road. And we'll just select a infantry target on top of a city. Can't hit buttons today. See, 0 comm towers, so we go to Lash. Wooden comm tower. Wait, how am I supposed to do this? Let's see. You can see here 90 to 99%. If you switch it over to Drake, so her comm towers do affect her day-to-day passive. Oh, wait, no, it's on top of planes. How would I do this? How would I calculate this? I'll worry about it later. That was still additional firepower from attacking from planes. Oh well, either way, Battlecopter strikes the rocket again and actually got 5 points of damage. Battlecopter, recon, infantry, and tank. Lash is 100,000 field versus Drake's 132, so Drake has applied a bit of advantage, not to mention power advantage as well. Get some good picks there. Mech manages to strike anti-air and gets it down to 1 health. Got a couple of hits right there. Drake's pretty close for another Typhoon. suppose it would have to be... Now, I figured how... Okay, sorry about this. I really am curious if this would be effective. A person has also 10% firepower to even this out, would also be Hawk. So 99%, swap with the Hawk. Okay, her compounds do not affect her day-to-day. Compounds also affect the other players' CO's day-to-days. Now I'm overthinking it. Sometimes there are multiplicative effects in games, and I never know if it is or isn't specified. Anti-air, anti-air. Good damage there on that battle copter. Battle copter does strike tank there. Tsunami is now available, and there's a medium tank here not on top of the property. So it'll be whittled down. Artillery go from 9 to 7 to 9. And a couple units get on top of cities there to weather the storm. Tank, infantry, tank. And it's turn of 150 or 133 versus 115 starting. And Tsunami will hit Lash pretty hard. Actually, goes for a kick there first for some odd reason. Is he not activating a superpower this turn? Okay, that was activated there to try and get free picks for some reason. Probably just a bit of BM. Good hits there. Has good green spawning up here. Black bow's down to 8 fuel, not too much remaining. She can resupply with a APC. Actually, gets good strike there and does pop the full superpower there. Could have gotten more boost strike there, but now she's just double defense stars. Beam tank takes a good chunk there. Takes a little tank. Our rocket does get on top of the city there for a good firing position. And we do have a Neo tank down south for Drake. And not a super great superpower, though this does allow her to get double defense stars on the defense. Of course, if they get picked off the road, 0 times 2 is still in fact 0. So I recommend tripling it while on top of roads as a way to balance it out. Medium tank infantry. Recon strikes pipe seam for some odd reason. I'm not sure why he did that. Lash does, of course, have this pipe seam cleared out. That's why she has a pretty good way to get on out. Of course, Drake has not taken out the pipe seam. Artillery in range of the city now. Anti-air infantry tank. Last's lander is at 8 health, 36 fuel, so it needs to be resupplied soon, which means she will lose some funds there. Now I got a medium tank and Neo tank in the center. This medium tank is at 8 health for the moment. Battlecopter infantry tank and base skip. Rocket does strike infantry. Tank infantry tank. And it's 140,000. Drake's at 162, so he's about 2 turns ahead. Trying to flip that property. And mech gets knocked out. But it's gonna be a full health 3 defense star rocket now in range of a lot of stuff, including that capturing infantry in there. No prime tactics, let alone terrain tactics. No terrain tactics, let alone prime tactics. Double taps the pipe seam. Rocket strikes a tank there. Tank finish off tank. Anti-air strikes anti-air. Medium tank strikes tank. Tank strikes the anti-air. Tet strikes tank there. Tsunami can be brought in next turn. Yes, I fall back. Infantry, tank. Medium tank gets struck. And there goes that medium tank. Lash sort of does need the extra firepower at the moment. Got multiple battle copters here. Got one anti-air in range, the other one's not. Rocket just needs to take out vision range, but could easily be struck by one of those battle copters. Though these are Drake battle copters, and we know how poorly they do against any, some degree of defense. So they'll probably do about a 4 health battle copter will probably do 2 damage to a 3 defense star rocket. Could potentially see a prime tactics this turn, in the turn of that. Tsunami or Typhoon's now available. No prime tactics next turn, or this turn. Gotta be careful with the lander. It's starting to get low on fuel. Goes for... could have picked that one off. That was a misplay. I think he's just going for a bit of BM, but that one did backfire. Pipe seems slowly go on down. Tank, battlecopter, infantry. So here comes the prime tactics. I doubt it's going to be for terrain tactics. Rocket strikes the medium tank. Tank takes on. Tank did not knock it out. I thought it would. Here comes a capture. Tank finish off tank. Anti-air takes out battlecopter. The rocket has been definitely beating this game. But this rocket has taken more damage and repaired it more times than I would ever expect a rocket would. And these wound units are just slugging at each other. Black Bow has 1 fuel remaining. Next turn it will sink. Might as well repair something. Good main repair up this tank there to make sure it's a top full health to get full 80% defense. Good damage there. I'm sort of curious as bit of a bugged out start there. And looks like the replay sort of bugged out. Here, I'm going to try to go like this, and there we go. I think that fixed it. Yep, there we go. That fixed it. Lots of good hits there. I am curious of how much damage a Neo tank would do to a superpower Lash tank. Not very much. She will actually do more damage in turn. Pipe seems to slowly go on down there. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, and Black Boat sinks. And that stinks. Rocket still alive. Anti-air is out of range. It's a good shot into that battlecopter there, though. Rocket does strike the anti-air. Picks off some outlying units there. Lashman has 109,000 field versus 129, so she's still about 2 turns behind. And does go and load the lander on top of the port there, so will be expensive repair. But it will at least get refueled. Did a good job of going through 1 full cycle of Tsunami without resupplying it. Pipe seam finally goes on down. More tanks there. Got a tank, an infantry, battlecopter, tank. Rocket strikes the tank there, and Battlecopter goes down. Neotanks are in range of each other. Yellow's Neotank's just not spotted at the moment. Lots of good picks there. And this is, of course, without cast vision, you know that's a wrong move, but without nothing nearby was spotted, this tank could move forward and spotted it. It does fall back there instead. So Drake can get a first strike on this Neotank with his own Neotank from the missile silo, but won't be super great. Could try solving up the Battlecopter, does not. Neotank strikes regular of the anti-air, which is quite understandable. But this artillery is in range of the Neotank. No chance for prime tactics. Could try, she could pop a terrain tactics. So I think Lash is going to have a good turn next turn. Draken's turn 149,000. Lash starts turn 123. So she's behind a turn, but this will be a great turn for her. Rocket strikes tank. Tank gets finished off there. Neotank decides to strike the medium tank. Artillery takes on the Neotank. I think it would be better to hit Neotank striking Neotank, honestly. And another Typhoon is now available, but the Neotank will be... maybe that's why he did it. He let it end his turn on top of our own city. So, another Typhoon's available. Lash is actually ahead of... actually equal without the day-to-day income. And they're no longer equal. Battlecopters hit the Neotank quite hard there. This Neotank can try getting another shot onto it. And it decides not to. If the rain won't be able to spot the Neotank either. Could see a prime tactics next turn. Rocket gets another shot off there. Who knew it would take a rocket to be on top of a city surrounded by moat to be effective? Yes, it had to take a moat to protect the rocket. Tank, infantry. With day-to-day repairs, she was not able to accomplish too much. But getting pretty close to another prime tactics. Battlecopter strikes Battlecopter. No Neotank. Tank, Battlecopter, infantry, recon. Instant 160, last turn 133, so she's still down by a turn. She also has 2,000 less income at the moment. Oh, terrain tactics. This will give her perfect movement, and does it give her like 50% increased defense stars? I can't remember exactly, just give me a moment. Nope, just perfect movement. I think the half defense stars was dual strike. And of course she goes, get +10/+10 global. She might be a little bit desperate. She's going for terrain tactics. Terrain tactics with 4 stars is actually horrible. Battlecopter, infantry. Like, it's really a 2-star power for costing 4 stars. I could say if they're ever going to... I don't understand why they don't want to do balance changes and all the sort, but if Lash will ever get a buff, I would say having her terrain tactics cost down reduced to 2 stars, Visual Power could cost 6 stars in total, and then potentially also make it so she gets not affected by weather in either of those. Good way too. Howdy. Sorry, I have trouble reading and speaking foreign. Mecha's good strike down tank. Recon's still alive, so Lash still has pretty good vision. Insert 149,000. Lash was from 111. Good strike there. Tank hits tank with a nice boosted attack. A rocket strikes the infantry unit on the mountain, takes out as well. Recon will finish it off though. Anti-air finished off the battle copter. Neotank lurking in the woods, however, it has no vision, barring the units on top of properties. So Drake needs to get out recon on 2 down south. He was most reliant on the infantry unit on top of the mountain. Good hits there. Recon, 1 health recon falls back. Battlecopter, recon, infantry, tank. 131 on the field versus 113, so Lash has evened out the game. This infantry unit there and there. Recon or anti-air finish it off. Striking tank and Neotank push way forward. Neotank is of course out of range of the artillery, but of course the artillery can strike the regular tank there and brings in the Typhoon. Merva. When I speak American, you gotta end every single phrase with howdy or yeehaw, ooh-wee. Tank, infantry, and of course a T-copter. I'm not expecting a T-copter, that can be quite nice. It's good for transporting stuff. It's the T and T-copter. He's also playing Drake, who's tend to be more stereotypical British, so of course he does need to drink a lot of tea. Infantry. After all, you can tell he's British because he casts Summons Raid. Even though where I live, I get more rain, and heat, and cold, among everything else. The rocket has advanced across the city, from the city. She has almost enough for a superpower. Drake in turn of 112, last turn of 99, so they're still pretty even, though Drake still has the advantage. It's the... I forgot how bad Drake battlecopters are. Picks off a lot of wounded infantry units there. Picks off the artillery, but the rocket is in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Drake has assumed the rocket's right there, so you must assume that he put the Neotank in range of the rocket. But let him know, of course, he pushed the Neotank in range of the rocket instead. Infantry, battlecopter, anti-air, and another anti-air. Does get trapped there. Rocket does strike, and Prime Tactics? She already spent her turn, so maybe not a good turn for Prime Tactics. Neotank will be repaired on up a little bit. Neotank, infantry. She'll likely pop her terrain tactics or prime tactics next turn. Neotank does fall back in further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The regular tank's in range. Wouldn't be in range if it was being hit from over there. But in this case, since the rocket has pushed forward, it is in range. Tank, infantry, anti-air. And here comes the superpower. Prime Tactics. Strikes the tank there, one-shots it quite nicely. Surprised it actually did. And again, rockets do have decent firepower. Exactly 100% minimum. Flips trying to play the property. Of course, has 6 defense stars or as a meat shield. Everything else being brought back in reserve. Neotank advancing. Nice booster strike there. Finished off the recon. Takes the tank there and there. Or should they advance to the city? Of course, in full vision range of the recon, as well as full vision range of the recon. Tank, infantry, tank. And, oh, the landers have 2 fuel remaining, so it brought into dry dock, get repaired and resupplied. goodness, there. How many times do I have to say how bad Drake battlecopters are? Of course, in this case, it's also fighting against his last superpower. Oh god. It lost versus the infantry unit. It, granted, did interrupt the capture, it was important, but took more damage than intent. Did I forget to mention how much I don't like Drake battlecopters? Tank, tank, and tank. A-tier takes out the battlecopter. One capture progress remaining. And of course doesn't have to worry about the superpower now. The rocket has advanced way forward, and I don't think Drake has seen the rocket advance from the city yet. But may have seen sneaky suspicion of it. Tsunami is now available. Put it there. Got a recon A-tier tank. Got a couple of those strike the tank. It has 28 fuel remaining with no APC nearby, so it's going to be shot down. Balls are going to crash either way. Drake's trying to threaten the flip of the comm tower, which is actually quite critical. And I see nothing to interrupt it. Pops a power as well. Looks like he's going to make a power play for the comm tower. It's not going to be quite expensive. Prime tactics as well. They're both 7-star powers, and both of them should have very... Yeah, it looks like Drake may have popped one more superpower. Or... Yep. Neotank did take a strike there. Tank hits tank. Neotank hits medium light tank. A-tier takes out that one, so she will get a decent amount of power charge this turn, and Drake will get no power charge this turn. Tank does strike the tank, but Lash will lose this comm tower. She can start making threats to this one, but it'll be a 3-turn capture at the current rate. Tank does strike the A-tier, and there. A-tier does hit, does spot the rockets, and it's basically done for. Now that rocket stayed around for much longer than I would have expected. We have now a terrain tactics available. Comm tower has been flipped. Oh, it does manage to machine gun down the T-copter with the infantry and tank. I suppose the boosted damage from the city was useful there. Recon, battlecopter, infantry, artillery. A-tier does take out the rocket. Neotank is good striking the Neotank. Put some more rounds in that Neotank as well. Very nice. And goes for another power. Looks like Drake is trying to win the game sooner rather than later. Relying on powers and superpowers, he's really trying to force Lash out of the game. Lash has a superpower available. Tank, battlecopter, infantry, tank. Answer 130. Lash has 81. And do have another full prime tactics. Her next superpower costs 138. Next Typhoon costs 151. Tank. There's a good shot there. Tank hits the recon. Got a tank here. Drake doesn't have too much down here. Lash is a nice chain of tanks. So Lash is in a good position down south. Tank strikes tank. A-tier strikes A-tier. Finish it off there. Tank strikes tank. Then the battlecopter over to the left, help engage the Neotank. Another rocket, so she's going to probably try to plant the rocket on that city and let it grow. Drake's battle copter push way forward. Of course, still don't do as much damage as you would expect. It's the infantry unit there. Drake, of course, has 2 comm towers, is very important right now. Tank strike recon. Rockets makes way forward, this time not going to the city. Another recon's position right, artillery's rocket's position right now could be quite useful next turn. However, it's not even on the planes for additional firepower. Artillery, infantry. Landers at 11 fuel, so next turn we'll need to stop at harbor. I think that's infantry may be in range, so she may not go for that attack. Good tank counterattack here by Drake, but we've got multiple tanks up north. So Lash will win the tank war down south, looks like. Lash may want to get out an infantry unit down here and start eyeing for the comm tower in some cities. She doesn't have too much. Then again, both Lash only has 19 military units in the field. Drake has 26. 26 is a little bit low right now. 19 is incredibly low. When it comes to value in the field, Drake has 143 versus Lash's 95, so she's about 2 turns behind right now. Battlecopter strikes, Battlecopter's good. Rocket does get on top of the forest, which is defense towers will be very useful there. Tank, Battlecopter, Recon, Infantry. Lander ends turn with 7 fuel remaining. Oh wait, there's a mega tank there. Drake's going to try to really smash up north. Good strike there. It's the Recon. Battlecopter does not do any damage to the Neo tank, and that will be recovered, all percentage points. Lots of good hits there. And looks like Lash got hit by a pretty sizable tank counterattack. She's starting to disintegrate down south really badly. At this point in time, she needs a medium tank down south. She only has 1600, not enough for a medium tank, and of course build it from 2 other bases. So maybe a Battlecopter and something. Artillery does strike the Neo tank, which is pretty good. It's probably going to be a tsunami next turn, seeing how much Drake's been pushing tsunamis lately. There's a regular tank there. Recon, infantry. I think repairing the lander took a lot of funds out of her. Probably going to get as much power charge before popping the tsunami. Lots of good hits there. One, two, three, four, five, six. So even with terrain tactics, this tank can't range any of these units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope. This tank's out of range even with terrain tactics. Another Neo tank down south. Drake does have 26,000 versus 22. So there's a good strike there. Recon will finish off. Tank, Battlecopter, infantry. 138 versus 110. I think one more tsunami or typhoon could win the game for Drake. There's not much Lash can do versus a Neo tank down south, and the Mega tank is looking unstoppable at the moment as well. Rocket can do some decent damage to it though. It have to be a prime tactics shot onto the Mega tank with a rocket, maybe artillery to go along with it. Neo tank, 9 health, pulls back pretty far. Maybe trying to weather some storm. Interior infantry tank. Drops the capture down south or left. Mega tank has now been spotted and in range both the artillery and rocket. Prime Tactics would be devastating that Mega Tank. I don't know if she could do... Lash can make a play next turn. It's 178 versus 112. I think she has only this turn to make a difference. If she gets a Prime Tactics, that could allow these two units to really dial in on that Mega Tank. Does do with Rocket, and with the Artillery, it's a lot of boosted damage, that's for sure. But did not try to go for the Prime Tactics to knock it out. Tsunagi's not available, so the next turn's going to be devastating for her either way. There's a Prime Tactics. I think she should have tried getting that power charge before. Oh, Neotank does manage to finish off there. Oh, and she has hit the resign button. Yeah, the longer the game's gone for this Typhoon there, I don't think she could survive the next Typhoon. But a very well fought game by both players. This is Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. As I mentioned beforehand, that shall be my last replay for tonight. So everyone, thank you for watching, have a good evening, and get some good rest.